Third grade, we're going to be making clay cupcakes for our clay project this year. This is an example one that I've done. I have not fired it yet in the kiln, so it is still this gray color. As you can see, the inside is going to be hollow, so it's going to be like a little box that you can put things in. These are not very hard to make. We are going to work off of pinch pots that we have done before. And you're going to learn a new technique today called scoring and slipping to keep together clay pieces. So, first thing we're going to do today is we're going to make the base of our clay cupcake. The base is going to be made inside one of these plastic cups. I'm going to take a ball of clay and I am going to roll it into a ball. Now remember, with clay, the more you work with it, the more you press it, the more you do everything with it, the drier it gets. And if you do this over and over and over again, it will completely dry out and you will be very sad. So, to make our base, you're going to take a ball of clay. It's about the size of my hand or so. We'll see if this is big enough. And we are going to press from the top down into the center. I don't want to go totally to the bottom, but I do want to have a big enough depression that it's going to have a hole in the middle. We don't want to make these super thin. We want to leave them a little bit thick, but I'm going to press it. When I'm looking at the side, I'm making sure that it is pressed all the way against the edges. You will be able to see air bubbles if it's not pressed all the way against the edges. I don't want it to be any thinner than that on the sides. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to smooth the inside so it has a nice look to it. Just smooth it out, and I don't want to get it any thinner. Then I'm just going to kind of wipe this away off the top to make it nice and flat, because this is where the top of our cupcake is going to be sitting. If it's not flat, it's not going to sit. So when I look down the sides, I don't see air bubbles. On the inside, I have a nice smooth inside and I have a flat edge. You see it's flat. This will sit in here for about 2 days or so, and then it will shrink up as it dries. I will take it out. I will carve your name on the bottom. So I have the very first part done. Now I'm going to do the top of the cupcake. The top of the cupcake is a pinch pot. So I have the rest of my clay here. I'm going to set aside a ball of clay for the cherry on top. And then the rest of it I'm going to use, and I'm going to make a pinch pot. So reviewing how to make a pinch pot, because I know not everybody was here before. Actually, that's too much. Let me take some away. Once again, you do not want to do this over and over and over again, because your clay will become dry and brittle and break, and then you will cry and it will be awful. So I'm going to roll this into a ball. The smoother it is to begin with, the happier you'll be. Roll it into a ball. Then, to make your pinch pot, I'm going to put it down. Actually, I'm going to put it in my hand. I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to make a belly button into the middle of it. Okay, so just a belly button. Then I'm going to make sure that it stays round by using my hand to help keep it round. I'm going to use a quacker to make my pinch pot. I'm not actually pinching, but I'm using my fingers and my thumb to make the top to my pinch pot. Now you can see that it doesn't fit on here yet. So my goal is to make it so that it sits on top of here. So I'm going to use my quacker. I'm going to put my thumb all the way down. And then from the bottom, I'm going to pinch with my hand. If you keep it in your other hand, it will help keep it circular. I'm going to pinch with my quacker, not at the top, but all the way down. So I'm pinching with my thumb and my fingers. And then you're going to want to experiment, see how close it is to being the right size. I want it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to pinch a little bit more out with my quacker. That's about the right size. Actually, fit both hands in. Okay, then so that it looks really nice and flat, and it sits flat. I'm just gonna tap it to give it a flat edge right here, and then it will sit flat on top. You can take your finger and you can smooth out the frosting, because this is the frosting of your cupcake. If you've got cracks like that, you should be able to smooth them out for the most part. Remember, the more you do this, the drier your clay gets. So you want to work quickly. You can also roll it, and that will help make it nice and flat. Okay, so there's the top to my cupcake. I've done the bottom and the base, and the top of the cupcake right here. Then we are going to put on the cherry. So this is where the scoring and slipping is coming, and this is where I have the toothbrush and the water. This is where that's going to be used. So you can't just put clay together and have it stick together and dry that way. When clay dries, it gets smaller, it contracts, and so things fall apart. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue together your cherry to the top of your pinch pot. So the way that you do that is by scoring and slipping. So you're making little lines, those are the scores, and then you add a tiny bit of water, and then it changes your clay into what's called slip, which is glue. So you're going to take your toothbrush. I'm going to tap this flat so I know where I'm going to be scoring and slipping. Okay, so I've got a little flat edge. It's real easy to smash this by tapping it. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of water, and I do mean tiny. And then you're going to take the toothbrush and make lines on here. And you can see that there are little wet lines. That's what you're looking for. And that's all you need. And then the very top, where the cupcake, on top of the cupcake where the cherry's going to sit, you're going to do the same thing. You have to do it to both sides. Notice there's no drippy water. I'm not making a mess. Then you're going to put your cherry right on top here, and it will dry like this. I'm going to kind of press it onto there to make sure that's really firmly attached. And then this is it. When you are done today, you're going to go down to the restroom and wash your hands. If you're in my class, the mat that you work on is trash. If your table is dirty, it is your job to clean it up. You can put the toothbrushes right in the cups. Bring these to me at the drying rack, and tomorrow or the next day when they are dry enough, then we will carve your names on them. But right now, obviously, we can't get this out. So that is our cupcake. After they dry in a couple weeks and they're fired, we will glaze them all kinds of beautiful colors. All right, here we go.